Hello, everybody, and welcome to poster session 13 on Health 1. I'm very excited about this poster session, but I'm probably biased because health is my field. So how it's going to work today is that everybody's going to have 5 minutes to present their poster. If we have time, we'll take questions, and please post your questions in the chat. And yeah, if you don't have time to look at the posters today, there'll be posters available on the website. So we've had a little program change, but today we're going to start off with Karina Wiekman on the potential of artificial intelligence and citizen science. So Karina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Amazing. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Karina, and I'm working as a researcher at SMIT, which is linked to the Free University in Brussels, Belgium. My background is in social sciences, and I will present to you the I4Diabetes project. The other involved partners are mentioned with their logo at the bottom line of the slide. And Vito, which is the third one on the left, is the coordinating partner of this project. So this project was financed by the Department of Science and Innovation of the Flemish government, and it was supported by the Flemish Knowledge Centre on Citizen Science called CIVIL. The project officially ran from September 2018 until February this year, and the efforts are still continued by Vito, who is developing a computer model based out of this. So the I4Diabetes project is in first place a citizen science project, and whereby volunteers help to label retina images, which is a photograph of the inside of the eye from a public data set which is published on the Zooniverse platform. The aim of this project is to develop and train a computer model based on artificial intelligence, in particular through machine learning, to detect symptoms of diabetic retinopathy in the images. So for those who don't know what diabetic retinopathy is, it is a complication that diabetes patients have in the eyes and which affect the eye and can cause fetal blindness. To give some context, worldwide there are now 425 million people who are diagnosed with diabetes, and 1 out of 3 of them can get an eye complication. National health services are doing a lot of awareness raising right now and stimulate diabetes patients to go for a regular eye screening once a year. Of course, this causes that there is an increase in the number of retina images that medical professionals need to screen, and this is a very labor-intensive task for them. They are doing this manually, and as you can see on the poster, they have to look for damages in the eye, such as here. So they need to look for microaneurysms in the retina images, and this is very labor intensive. And also on top of that, it might be that medical professionals vary in their diagnosis. And that is actually the reason why this project is training a computer model to assist medical professionals in the detection of this eye disease. So in total, there were 7,500 volunteers who labeled 95,000 images. They had basic and more advanced labeling tasks. And out of the results, we could see that the performance of the computer model increased and that the lesion detection is now 50% more accurate. So we are very happy with this result. Finally, some next steps for our project. So Vito, who is developing the computer model, is still investing in this training, and we are supporting, or we are encouraging volunteers to continue their efforts. So if you go to the website i4diabetes.health, you will be directed to the Zooniverse platform, where you can label the retina images. I have to say right now the project is put on pause because one of the positive outcomes, I would say, of the COVID-19 pandemic is that there was an increase in participation and interest in our project. People had more time, and we couldn't provide the necessary support for all the volunteers. That's why it's put on pause right now. And we are looking for additional funding to help us with this support and communication. Then from my side, I will soon publish a survey that will explore the attitudes and opinions of citizen scientists related to the usage of AI in citizen citizen science, because we noticed that during the project there is little awareness of how AI can be used in citizen science, and there might be some ethical concerns. So for now, that's it. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Okay, so it doesn't seem we have any questions right now, but if you would like to ask questions, I'm sure Carolina, you can contact Carolina later. So I'd like to move on to our second presentation of the session, which is Elisabetta Broglio. Sorry, I pronounced that incorrectly. Hello. So yes, you can hear us. Would you like to launch, Elisabetta?
Okay. Can you see?
I can. If you full screen, yeah, perfect.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm presenting Genigma on behalf of my team from the CRG in Barcelona. Genigma is going to be a game for smartphone to advancing cancer research, and the game will be launched in November 2020. So today what I would like to explain you is our purpose and which is our methodology. Also some general things about the game. Imaging players as a part of cyberspace mission in which they have to reorganize elements, but in reality what they do is identify in a quality way which fragments of cancer genomes may play a significant role in the disease. Every week, scientists will introduce a different pool of data into the game for a start to be analyzed in a battle. Each player will analyze various small fragments of cancer cell DNA that really correspond to data obtained in the lab from 5 different cancer cell lines. Player reward will be assigned from outside of the app in a special website that we are going to produce. People will track the scientific progress of the project, and inside of the game, player will also collect pills of knowledge on genomics, cancer, and open science. All this material will also use to engage school in the project. Citizen will have a fundamental role in this scientific mission that aim to build cancer-specific genomic reference essential to advancing cancer research, and especially in exploring new medical treatments. And Citizen will also help in training artificial intelligence to better identify patterns in cancer genome rearrangements. Citizen participation has been in the project since the very beginning. We started with 3 different co-creation events and some tests on the previous, the first prototypes. We involved already 300 people, including gamers, patients, medical doctors, teachers, artists, students, scientists from other disciplines. It was an immense pleasure to collaborate with them, and all the idea we have in the game became from them. And we also kept all the expectation and needs of these people. We try to incorporate it in the project. Citizen science approaches will be very important from this project, since the human genome is very big and each cancer is different. So for each cancer line, we have 3 billion pieces to organize. It corresponds to 20,000 genes to map. And the good news is the human eyes perform much better than machine identify visual patterns that is like this. And currently, cancer genome rearrangement are determined using algorithms that still require manual refinement by the scientists. So these citizens, with the human cognition and consensus, will help a lot in the project with the innovative ways to solve the complex problem. We organize a committee with the profile of different kind of citizens to work in the communication and engagement plan for the community. Our first test in the game using no cancer cell lines, which genome we know, give some very nice preliminary results. And we show that we have the strength to identify nice hotspots, and the citizens can, better than machine, identify a zone that contain repetitive elements that algorithms fails to solve. So this is for my part. If you want to know more about this project, you can follow us in genigma.app in the social network. and this is a project this is a part of the Orion Citizens Open Science project. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Elisabetta. That was really interesting. It's really interesting. You can use a game to spot genome sequences and patterns. So I don't believe we have any questions for you, but I mean, it is the end of the day, so you can get hold of Elisabetta later, and all these posters are online. Thank you, Elisabetta. So I'm going to move on now to our next. So we have Georgia Bella. Are you here? Perfect. You're on mute. Okay, can you say hi? I can't hear you. I'm unmuted. Oh, yeah, you were. Sorry, guys, would you hold on 1 second? We're just having some technical issues. Sorry, listeners. Just hold on 1 second.
Could you hear me?
Oh, perfect. Yes, we've got you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So yes, Georgia is going to present pathways to citizen science in radiation detection.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, could you share my poster?
Can we? Control, have we got? Oh, perfect. Sorry, everybody, hold on 1 second. We appear to be having a bit of a communication issue. Everybody get ready. And again, while you're waiting, just remember all of these presentations are online for you to view later. Of course, you know, it's the end of the day. Everybody needs a coffee break at this point. Do we have Georgia's presentation anywhere?
I have a poster, and I would like to show my poster, please.
Have you tried sharing your screen? Perfect. So yeah, we can see you. You're currently on mute, but we can see your poster. So can you take yourself off mute?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So there are many sources of radiation, and we face day by day radiation exposure. And our project is the main goal is to understand the radiation around us in our everyday life. And there are a lot of sources of radiation, for example, cosmic radiation, natural radiation. There are radioactive gases in the air we breathe, and any increase level of radiation above natural background could cause some risk to our health. And that's why it is very important to understand the pattern of this and map the sources of this radiation. And since we are living in eastern part of Europe, central and eastern part, we are faced some areas. Here we can find some areas with higher background radiation because of the accumulated pollution from Chernobyl, and also you can find some radioactive materials in sediments of the rivers. So that's why we started this project and this proposal. And And the other issue which is interesting for is the radon, which is radon is a very important radiation gas, which is responsible for a large proportion of lung cancer in Hungary. And we developed some devices called Radiscan, which is and through these devices we put the best available technology to the hands of citizens, and this innovative tool use scintillators and SGPM to measure the radiation. We developed these kits because we wanted to put the best technology available in this field in the hands of citizens, and before and development was this kit was is a very long research work based on very long research works, and therefore it is a very sufficient sensitive tool to measure the different doses, and it is available to perform a more complex measurements, for example, isotope identification.
Sorry, can you just run out of time? But thank you so much, Georgia, for your presentation. And we're sorry that we've had to cut you short, but of course, your presentation will be online and everybody can view and ask you questions there. I'm very sorry about that. So now we're going to move on to poster session number 15, Health 2. And our first presentation is Gaston Remmers. Can we see Gaston? Hello.
Hi.
So Gaston's first poster is on fatigue and gut health. Hopefully.
All right. Shall I share my screen?
Yes, if you can, please.
Sure. All right. I'm presenting the screen, this post on behalf of my the other colleagues in the consortium that we've been working with. My colleague PI Anja Tevelde is in the crowd now, so she will be on the chat if you'd like to ask things. Oh, I'm sorry. This is where I should be. What the project MyOwnResearch is about is an effort of 11 organizations who won a grant, a large national grant in the Netherlands of 2.5 million euros. You can see it on the right-hand side. In an attempt to devise a research methodology that allows citizen research or patient research to take place in their own environment on real medical issues with an intervention that they would of their choosing, and then to organize it in such a way that the data that are being produced can be analyzed for patterns, and hypotheses can be deduced in order to make a further research possible that allow for insights at group level, which is a big difficulty in lots of medical research. So we got a lot of praise for the initial setup of our project. The point is that, and that's that's the sad news I have to bring, that we've been on our road for 1.5 years, and we've submitted 2 proposals to the medical ethical review committees in the Netherlands, and we've been declined approval to continue our project. So this has been a dramatic end of our project, which involves a lot of public funding. But at the same time, we've learned so many issues on related to the medical ethical infrastructure present in the Netherlands, and in what aspects they do and they don't support citizen-driven or patient-led research. So in this little poster, we only put down the background to the project. We give you an idea about the partners involved for medical institutions, university institutions, a little bit about the project setup, the project phases, and some of the conclusions. And the major one is we have to get these ethical issues sorted out soon and quickly and thoroughly. That's basically the background of this paper. We will be unpacking the learnings of our project in I believe in the months or half year to come, and I would welcome any comments or questions for exchange on the subject. I'll leave it here, Holly. Is that okay?
Hi, yeah, that's
Can you hear me?
perfect. So thank you so much, Gaston, for that presentation. You're right on time, and we're going to come back to you in a bit with your second poster. But first up, we have Carlos assessing the walkability at the University of Malta. Are you there, Carlos? I think you're on mute. Yeah, perfect.
Sorry, I'm here now. I'm ready.
No worries. Thank you so much. Perfect. Take it away, Carlos.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. Thank you, Holly. First of all, I wanted to say that I'm not a health expert. I'm a geographer. I guess my poster fell into this section because walkability has been increasingly used in environmental health to study relationships between walking and urban environments with public health. However, rather than studying such relationships, my research focuses on developing a participatory method to assess walkability. So this presentation is about the project Walk in Malta, which has three main components: community, research, and policy. So if we zoom here, here we're trying to help a community of pedestrians with common interests and concerns. One of the 10 principles of citizen science says that both the professional scientists and the citizen scientists benefit from taking part. So in this graph, you can see that we are contributing to the project with things like an online platform where pedestrians can interact and raise awareness about their needs. Then pedestrians are contributing with things like information about their experiences and local knowledge. And this results in the advance of walkability research, but also helps create more pedestrian-friendly environments for the participants and more people walking, which improves public health. So then I will come back to this image at the end if I have time, but I'm moving on to the research part. Here we define the concept of perceived walkability, which can be assessed by the perception of street safety, comfort, pleasantness, and vibrancy. Participants can rate their experiences using categorical variables, such as safe or unsafe, comfortable or uncomfortable, and so on. And then also, we created a specific categorization for all the environmental elements of the public space. So when participants talk about pavements or traffic, terrain, weather, crime, and so on, we can group all these observations accordingly. And finally, we created a data collection protocol where pedestrians can collect data about their experiences and the public space on the go. They can do so using their phones and social media or messaging platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or WhatsApp. The main idea here is to test a new methodology in which, instead of developing yet another app, so participants need to download and learn about it, we wanted to see which technology is already being used by citizens and see their potential to collect and share data for walkability studies. Here you have two examples from Facebook and WhatsApp. And the four main pieces of information that we obtained from participants are a picture of the walk, how they feel, why or what makes them feel that way, and the location of the place. And with this information, we move to the third part, which is the policy. And here is the creation of tools and reports for policy making. There are two main research outputs. The first one is a perceived walkability assessment, where we developed a perceived walkability index that aggregates nearby observations, weighs different positive and negative experiences, and calculates the value for an overall perceived walkability. This can help to better understand which areas are considered more pedestrian-friendly and which require attention and improvement. And then, because participants link information about their experiences with observations of the public space, the second outcome is a content analysis to identify which are the most relevant elements and characteristics of the walkable environment that influence certain experiences, both positive and negative. This also helps to prioritize action and to implement specific interventions to improve the walkability of the place. And I think I still have a bit of time to go back to this image, so I just wanted to finish with that. We are creating new information about walking routes to university, including some street signage and online maps, which require some technical skills and work from our end. But then we're asking pedestrians to share their walking experiences with us when they use such routes, which is a valuable information that we cannot create without their collaboration. So I think that this is a good example of a trade-off between researchers and the citizens in a citizen science project. And that would be it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Carlos. That's really interesting. It's
the
super
main idea of
interesting.
the research and the walking water project.
Sorry, I cut you off, but thank you very much for your presentation. That was really interesting about the walkability apps and repurposing other apps. So thank you very much. So we are now hopefully going to go back to Gaston. So Gaston Remers, perfect.
Hello.
Hi, Gaston.
Hi.
So we have you down for another poster on enhancing health through citizen science.
All right. Let's have it. Where is my?
So if you...
I'm finding the right.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so of course, everyone, I know this is such a busy session and to go through, so please bear in mind that everything is online and people will be available for chats and answering questions after if you come up with them.
Now, this is I do have an issue now with finding the right. How is this possible? I'm so sorry.
No worries.
There it is. Okay. Yes, you can see it right now, I guess.
Yes, I can.
All right. So a quick start. This presentation is a debrief of a session we had yesterday morning, an hour-and-a-half session delivered by the people that you see on the low end of the screen. And what we aim to do, well, this was the idea of the participants, what kind of session we had. It was a very interesting, very informative session. We wanted to explore dimensions and challenges of citizen science for health and to understand better if the health domain is different from other domains where citizen science is applied to. And we aim to work towards a green paper on the issue and see aim to present it to EXA and see if we can establish a special interest group on it. That was our idea. You can still add to the ideas of that green paper by going to the short link that is situated on the screen, and or send me an email with a simple message in the subject line, and then you will be updated. So just to give you a glance of what was this workshop about. We had predominantly researchers in the room and less citizens and patients, but fortunately a considerable amount of people who identify with both roles. The rate of success of the projects that people in the room had is, according to their own standards, pretty well. 4.8 on a scale of 6 or 7, I believe. And the key factors that were identified in the session for success were either the absence of collaboration when it didn't work, or the presence of collaboration and teamwork. So this is very, very essential to getting things done in this domain, and which is also the grounding for the reason why people would like to connect more with other citizen science for health projects and project leaders in Europe. A vast majority of the people present want to get connected and learn from each other, and want to see the special interest group on citizen science for health being established in EXA. So we will continue. We will follow up on this in the days to come. Now, there was also a clear view that there's a marked difference between citizen science in the health domain as compared to other domains, as you can see in this. Some argue that there is a difference, but not as big. And to get an idea of the issues where this difference does reside, here there's a graph. It has to do with the mix of citizens as researchers being research subjects too. The ethical requirements is very important issue. The quality of the data, that is more on the scrutiny. The dynamics of stakeholder engagement is more complex, and then there's a host of other issues that come to the table that make it an area of work that has its own specificities. To get an idea of the differences and the diversity of the domain and the project in this, we ranked a number of issues, and among them, purpose and agency. So, what do you do it for, and who's the driver of the project? Are considered the top two issues. I'm getting over my time, isn't it, Holly?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. So I go quickly to the last slide, and that is this one. Should you want to get involved and more, please go to this one and catch up, and we'll be in touch.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Gaston. Thank you so much for both of your posters and some really informative data about citizen science health. Thank you.
All right.
So sorry we don't have any time for questions right now, but these questions will be posted to the presenters later on. So I'm going to move on now to session 17, so session 17 on Health 3. And we should kick off with Joaquin Cachero. I'm sorry.
Pretty good.
I tried, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Holly. I'm here to present GeoVin, which is an ongoing project in Argentina. In this project, what we do is we study a family of insects called triatomines. These insects live mostly in tropical and subtropical regions. In English, they're commonly called kissing bugs, which is kind of a cute term, but unfortunately for them, they can also be vectors of a parasite that causes an important disease in the region called Chagas disease. This disease is a serious concern. It affects over 1.6 million people in Argentina and over 8 million people worldwide. So it's in the agenda of all major health institutions, including, of course, the World Health Organization. And GeoVin started as a typical
Okay, Joaquin, we've just lost you for a minute. Sorry, everybody, bear with us for a few seconds while we try and get Joaquin back. Oh, okay. So I think now we've lost Joaquin. If we hold on for a few seconds, if we can't get him back, okay, let's move ahead. So our next poster in this session is Sabine Wilder. Oh, come on, I don't know if I can pronounce that. Sabine. Sorry.
Well, Holly, thank you for the introduction.
All right.
It's Sabine Wildevuur. Yeah, and the screen is shared. My name is Sabine Wildevuur. I'm director at the Design Lab University Twente. I think at the end of the afternoon, everybody is struggling with technology and so forth. But I'm happy to present our e-poster on behalf of many co-authors, namely Steven Dorestein, Jan Jukema, Cornelia Conrad, Marjolein den Ouder, Frits Oosterveld, Monique Tabak, Renske van Wijk, and Ben Kockler. Why am I naming all these names? Well, I think it illustrates the way we collaborate within this unique and iconic project. Citizenlab is focusing on the eastern part of the Netherlands, called Twente. And in this region, the health-related quality years of the citizens are lower than in the rest of the Netherlands. So the overall program, TOPFIT, is aiming towards adding 2 happy and healthy life years to its citizens. And within the project Citizenlab, within TOPFIT, we are striving towards a sustainable citizen lab at the end of the project to improve health, well-being and prevention with and for the citizens of Twente, using technology to support them. Let's see if I can move. Yeah. 12 postdoc researchers are working almost full-time on this Citizen Lab, which is a 3-year project, both from the University of Twente, but also the SUCCES University of Applied Sciences. And in addition, we also have a very large consortium with different stakeholders, ranging from communities, companies, policymakers, end users, and others. The researchers come from different research disciplines, health science, design research, data science, but also ethics and others. Really a transdisciplinary team. And as we heard over the last couple of days, successful collaboration is key for citizen science. Well, if you look at the scheme of TOPFIT, and I choose not to have a traditional a poster, but you can see, and it's also called Norbelab in slang, so locals know what we are talking about. On the right-hand side, you see the overall goal of Citizen Lab. And so that's working towards a sustainable citizen lab. And this includes more high-over research activities in which we research, for example, which methods and methodologies are most suitable for citizen science for health, but also to build on a community within Twente on citizen science for health. And these activities should be supporting Twente as a living lab for preventive medical technology innovation. And technology plays an important role in this project. University of Twente is a technical university, but not from a technology-driven point of view, but more the user in the a user-driven approach. We conduct, and you see that in the middle, research within different pilots that are interconnected with this more overall activities, research activities on the right. For example, we have a pilot on diabetes type 2 and more general ones such as how to design technology that supports citizens to stay longer at home, safe and happy. The knowledge in the pilots feed into the more overall research topics and the other way around. Just as in other projects, we are facing barriers. COVID-19 blocked the interaction with citizens as we had planned. So we have to look for other ways to include citizens. I'm curious how other people are dealing with this type of challenges. And at this moment, it's too preliminary to share our results. We are working on a framework as well for this methods and methodology for citizen science for health and other papers and pilots and so forth. And what we are aiming for today is to share with you via this e-poster that these activities take place in our region. And we really like to connect to others and exchange knowledge and good practices on citizen science for health. And then I come back what already Gaston was mentioning, that I want to close off with something that we started here at EXA, naming a special interest group of citizen science for health. And over the last couple of days, and we heard it several times, it became clear that citizen science is already used in social science and humanities a lot, but there's not that much research on citizen science for health. So that's why I'm happy with this poster session and also with the workshop we held yesterday. And we were checking people if they were interested in a special interest group within EXTA on citizen science for health. They are. Gaston Remmers was already referring to it. There's a Google Doc in which you can leave your activities on the field of citizen science for health. And I hope that we can continue the conversation after this poster presentation. So thank you for your attention. My contact is, my email address is named in the slide. So please send me an email if you want to be updated on all the activities going on Citizen Lab, but also the special interest group on citizen science for health. So thank you, Holly, and thank you all for listening.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sabine. I'm sorry we're not going to have time for questions. I'm going to have to quickly move back to Joaquin, if he's here, and see if he can have a second go. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. The internet hates me.
Don't worry. We've all had problems.
I'll do it very quickly. Thank you, Holly. Oh, okay, what I was saying is that the GeoVin project, we monitor triatomines, and it has been around since May 2018. In these 2 years, we have already incorporated around 800 citizen scientists that actively help to monitor the vector, especially during the summer. And they have already contributed to around 950 reports of triatomines, valid reports, that means that are correctly photographed, that have been identified by an expert, and that they have been georeferenced. Basically, the workflow is like any other typical data collection project. We have also teamed up with the people specialized not only in the biological aspect of the disease, but also on the social, on the cultural, and the political implications of Chagas disease, which are many. And we have added our reports, or the reports of the Citizen Science Project, to a huge database of records we already have of the distribution of the insects, which are over 9,000 records of the insect that have been provided by museums, by science centers, government field agents that also monitor the vector. And the exciting new addition to the project was that during the beginning of 2020, a specialist from Buenos Aires in image recognition technologies and artificial intelligence, which I see is a topic that has been widely discussed during the conference. He found out about our project, contacted us, and voluntarily designed or trained a convolutional neural network that recognizes triatomines. He used around 1,000 of our photos that were all taken with mobile devices under different conditions, different lighting of triatomines and of other insects that are similar to triatomines, but they're not quite the same, and they do not transmit the Chagas disease. So he used 1,000 photos from our project. He used another 600 photos, brand new photos, taken also by citizen scientists from throughout the country to validate the neural network. Again, all these photos taken under different conditions, some with bad lighting, some with a bit blurry, some with other objects or even other insects in the frame. And the neural network is now up to 94% accuracy. So we're very excited to be including that into the project early 2021. More information, go to the website. We have all the repo, everything is open source, everything is there to see. So thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you, Joaquin, and thank you for doing such a good job, even though you were interrupted.
Sorry.
No, thank you. You did a good job in carrying on. So we're a bit pushed for time, so I'm going to go straight to our final presenter, which is Rebecca, who's presenting on measuring ergonomic differences in public space. Have we got Rebecca?
Hello, Holly, thank you. Okay, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon. I hope you are well. My name is Rebecca Silva Roquefort, academic at the University of Chile. I am designer and urban planner, and I work in research and teaching in the areas of ergonomics, human scale, and adaptability of the environment from an inclusive perspective. I am not an informatics expert, but I came to this job based on the result of my work on urban ergonomics. Today I will present the Ergocity app poster that I made with Pamela Smith and Valentina Zúñiga. The Ergocity app is a pilot mobile application for real-time.
Sorry, Rebecca, sorry to interrupt you. Would you mind putting this into full screen?
Sorry?
Would you mind full screening your PowerPoint?
Yes. There is better?
Not quite. Would you mind maybe going into PowerPoint and then view presentation, or clicking at the bottom? You see there's a little presentation button.
No, it's a poster. The poster is could import in the PowerPoint. It's okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you see it okay? Well?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay. So the poster, the Ergocity app mobile application for real-time measurement of ergonomic deficiencies in public space, it is arise in the framework of urban ergonomics model, rises that the need to discover the interest of the inhabitants to improve the quality of urban life. incorporate the human dimension in the design of urban plans, projects, and policies. The project is based on the use of information in communication technology, which presents technical evolution every day, enabling the development of a specific tool, in this case, app for mobile device that provides solution to problem of public spaces regarding their accessibility and knowledge for all citizens. The main objective was generate a pilot system for capturing information of public space in real time, which allows identifying and describing those factors that negatively affect the assessment and perceived comfort, generating the information through spatial and perceptual indicators based on the urban ergo approach. The methodology was worked in 3 stages. The first phase involved the review of the ergocity concept model. The second was the pilot development of the app with iterative and test and modification with user in real time. And the third phase implied the presentation of the app and the use mode. We work in the municipality of Cerro Navia in Santiago of Chile. I'm currently applying for new funds to be able to move toward a larger scale of implementation and improve the version of this pilot app. As part of the result, we sought to work with a design in the line of a citizen science experience, the importance of having accessibility environment and their knowledge for a correct detection of existing problem and their subsequent adaptation are some of the motivation of which the Ergocity Apps project is based. Effective participation is one of the most important things in our project. The characteristic of the system basically consists in allowing users who move through a public space to be able to register by referencing the deficiencies present, categorizing them, and communicate them to their local government. Finally, ongoing work I present today has to do with if the construction of the cities and the public spaces do not provide sufficient parameters to provide a perception of well-being and comfort to people, the consequences will be a continuous adaptation at the citizens to the world as it's been built. In this sense, Ergocity is an approach to citizen participation in the construction of public spaces through mobile technology, which require largest scale insertion, as well as comparative studies between regions or countries. We hope to achieve this collaboration and advance in a project can be applied in different places to advance the validation as a tool that contributes to effective participation of citizens in the construction of city. We all make the city. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, but if any of you have posted questions, we'll forward them on to the speakers and they can be answered later.
Okay.
Thank you again. So now I'm going to officially close our poster session. We've had some amazing posters today, and I want to give a big shout out to all of the speakers because this is a nervous and a new interface, and everyone back at the control room. So we now have a break in the program. I'm sure everybody needs a coffee or a glass of wine. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Poster Session 19, the first of a two-part session on policy. This afternoon, speakers will be introduced immediately prior to their presentations in order to save time, and they will each have 5 minutes to present and answer questions as time allows. Following the session, we invite both presenters and participants to an opportunity to continue the discussions in the Zoom social chat, which will be made available. First up is Kim Dorich, Policy Officer in the Knowledge Team at DG Environment, European Commission, and then guidelines on citizen science for environmental monitoring and policymaking.
Okay, thank you. Actually, indeed, the guideline was the working title of this document, and it's interesting that you mention it. The final title of the document in the end, as it has been published in the middle of this summer, is Best Practices in Citizen Science for Environmental Monitoring, but I'm sure there may be people in the audience who have contributed to this as who are consulted as stakeholders and who still know it as guidelines. So this document, the purpose of this, well, it has been published by the European Commission, but actually it's the product of a collaboration between the European Environment Agency and several departments in the European Commission, Environment, Research and Innovation, and the Joint Research Center. And we have created this or published this document. The purpose of it is to promote and enhance the use of citizen science as an additional source of environmental information and for use in policy and monitoring for official purposes. So there is a bit of policy context and history, which I'm showing here on the left. In 2017, actually, a fitness check, which is a kind of evaluation, has shown that on environmental monitoring, has shown that there is an opportunity and a need to use additional information, other sources than the pure official monitoring sources, to expand the knowledge on for environmental monitoring. This led also to an action plan, and in fact, specifically mentions that the Commission should promote the use of citizen science as a promising source of knowledge and information for environmental policy. And so from that followed a study on citizen science and its use for environmental policy. So it gives, it takes stock of good practices. What are the benefits, the opportunities, also the challenges and the hurdles, and how could they be overcome? And this, in the end, was also consulted on with stakeholders. So we have talked to a lot of players in the field of citizen science, and mostly we listen to them. What are the problems they encounter and how can they be solved? And so that has resulted in these best practices, and you find them here online. I show you the link, but if you Google the title, you will also find them as a PDF. There they are published. So I'm going a bit deeper into the content. Apart from this best practices and good examples of citizen science and what can we learn from them, the main part of this document are actually the recommendations and the possible actions that could be taken to promote and to enhance and facilitate citizen science for environmental monitoring. Targeting specific key actors in the field, the main players, which are of course the citizen science communities. These are the people doing the actual citizen science. There are also the associations and networks at national, but also regional and local level. Researchers are very important contributors as well. EU authorities, and then the public authorities in member states. These are also including the environmental protection agencies, but also statistical offices, for instance, play a role in collecting and analyzing data. So what are these possible actions and recommendations? It's quite an extensive part in this guideline, and I really recommend you to download it and look into it. I just give a few examples here, but just a very tiny snapshot of what is inside. For instance, for citizen science associations, it's recommendable, and it's actually already happening, that they create online knowledge base of citizen science initiatives so that we know what's happening across Europe, and also to share tools and guidelines which are already available, which are being produced by various initiatives. And so this can create synergies and also prevent overlap, but it's also very interesting for policy makers to know what is going on and what could be useful to tap into. And they could also promote coordination of citizen science initiatives to enhance, again, the synergies and avoiding overlap. And maybe some of you heard the presentation this afternoon. Such platforms are already being launched. For member states and EU authorities, it's important
Kim,
that they support. Yes?
I hate to cut you off, but we are at the 5 minutes, and I do need to move on, or else or else we run out of time. I'm really sorry to cut you off. We can actually present this as well in the Zoom social chat if you'd like to continue this discussion with the crowd.
Yes.
No, thank you. Our next presenter is Abir Almamani, a PhD fellow in citizen science at the IHE Delft Institute for Water Education, presenting citizen science for policy and exploration of stakeholder motivations, participating in air quality monitoring.
Hello, Christopher, and good afternoon, everybody. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Abir El-Momeni, and I'm a researcher at IHE Delft Institute for Water Studies in the Netherlands. And I'm currently doing my PhD research in citizen science with focus on environmental monitoring for policy. And today I have the pleasure to share with you initial findings of my research. Let me put so I'm a bit confused. Can you see my poster now, Chris, and the others?
Yes, I can see your poster. You might want to try maximizing it.
Okay, so maybe like this, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yep.
I believe we can see it.
Yeah. So in my research, I'm looking at the motivations, drivers, and barriers for participation in citizen-based environmental monitoring for multiple stakeholders. So I'm looking at air quality and noise monitoring project that took place during 2016-2019 in Mechelen, Belgium. This project is part of a bigger project called Ground Truth, which was coordinated by my research group here at the Institute. So this air quality and noise monitoring project was a co-created project. It involved different actors. So let's zoom into the actors I'm talking about. Of course, we had the citizens. We had citizens volunteering with us. They were either members of civil action groups or individually interested citizens. We also had the local authority represented with experts from the city administration as well as politicians from the city parliament, and scientists and data and technology experts. And these were the project implementation team composed of 4 partner organizations that were covering different specialties, issue experts, technology providers, as well as co-creation experts. So in my research, looking at these, so the results I will present today are based on 17 interviews and as well as my direct observations of the interactions, communications of those actors during the project duration. The empirical investigation was based on a conceptual framework adopted from social psychology, from behavioral psychology, and basically we're looking at the drivers and barriers for each actor by investigating their perceptions in 3 aspects. So first, the perceived, what they perceive are the outcomes of their participation in citizen-based monitoring, both positive and negative outcomes. We're looking also at the sources of social pressure to participate or not to participate. We're looking also at the actors' perceptions of their inability to participate because of the existence of enabling or hindering factors. I would like also to highlight that, to point out that the results shown in my poster do not reflect the whole range of drivers and barriers that we identified in the study. Rather, we chose to highlight the main drivers and the main barriers for each actor that kind of steer the dynamics and progress of this project. So here you see the main aspects, the main factors identified in each of the aspects I explained in the conceptual framework. So our findings indicate that clearly.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry to cut you off as well. We're actually at at the time already again. And I need to move on to the next presenter. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Our final presenter of this session is Karen Swacha, PhD student researcher at Barcelona's Institute of Marine Sciences, presenting How to Define Governance in a Citizen Science Network, a proposal for guiding the process.
Thank you, Christopher. Can you hear me and see my screen properly?
Yes.
Great. Okay, hello everyone, and amazing that you joined this session of the poster after a long day of great presentations. I will share with you our proposal of the governance roadmap. Then let's start. First, what is governance for us? We adopt the definition that the process is a collective process of formal or informal that determines how decisions and social norms are made for treating issues of common interest. Essentially, what do? We build a governance process, roadmap, and decision tree with options to be explored and assessed based on the purpose, needs, and capacity of each network. Why do we create this roadmap? Essentially because it was not available a practical route about how to start creating agreements within the network. And because we knew that it was necessary to make explicit minimum agreements to start operating the network in a transparent way. Apart from that, according to our experience, clear governance arrangements are key to the long-term survival of a network. What is the aim of this roadmap? Essentially, to guide people and organizations that wish to create or strengthen a network. This is a proposal for providing a structured framework for reaching a governance arrangement. What limitation does the roadmap have? Essentially, the roadmap was built mainly by researchers and professionals who have worked in different kinds of networks, in some cases with communities, but really there is no direct participation from civil society. How the roadmap had been used? This roadmap was tested and improved in 2019 while developing governance models for the citizen science for the Amazon network, the Ibero-American Participatory Science Network Recap, and in 2020 for the Women in Conservation Network. So let's start. I will go very fast through the poster. I will explain first the roadmap governance, second the process, third the decision tree, and fourth the closing section and the feedback. Remember that you are free to share the content that you consider relevant to social networks. You can download the poster using the QR code or the DOI URL. First, governance roadmap. Essentially, it's composed of 6 areas, as you see here in the image. First, organizational approach, operational structure, communication flows, participation model, decision-making model, and financial sustainability. The roadmap is exactly that, a map. It is not a checklist that indicates how complete or not a governance model is. The purpose and each of the 6 areas have a set of guiding questions to facilitate internal discussions and arriving at a shared understanding of what the network should agree to. The 6 areas of the governance roadmap are closely related among each other, but they are not sequential and they can be addressed in the order that the best respond to the needs of the network. So, second, the process. You have this roadmap, but how to start? You are sitting in these 9 meetings with your colleagues thinking how to make the jump and start consolidating the network. Here is when the roadmap and especially the process comes into play. First, you need to work in the purpose. Purpose is something that can be defined in many ways. In some networks by a founder or a group of founders. In others, through a huge consultation. It depends. The important point is nothing can go forward if you haven't decided where you are heading to. Once you decide the purpose, you can choose an area, for instance, and each area has a set of guiding questions to discuss. Remember that you can choose the area that you consider more relevant, but usually the networks start with the organizational approach, operational structure, and model of participation. The next step will be evaluate the options that can arise in each area. Then let's go to the decision tree, the third part. For each one of the areas of the governance roadmap, the decision tree provides a preliminary set of divergent options. Your network may choose to opt for an in-between option as well. Then, for instance, here you have an option for the area of organizational approach of geographic, stakeholders, and thematic. Remember, governance is also about achieving the greatest possible balance and representation of interest of the different stakeholders. This is key when evaluating and selecting the most desirable or viable options. And finally, The description of the roadmap will be available in the article in process of preparation, Governance Roadmap for Citizen Science Networks, and you are welcome to share with us your opinion and comments about the governance roadmap. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving right along to poster session 22, the second of this two-part policy session. I'd like to introduce Dr. Bruno Gumiro, professor in the Department of Biological, Geological, and Environmental Science and the Department of Industrial Chemistry, Tosso Montanari, at the University of Bologna. Bruno, your camera is off. Okay, moving right along, I will introduce then instead for the moment Diana Escobar, head of the Barcelona Science Program at the Institute of Culture of Barcelona, presenting Sharing Knowledge and Best Practices at the Barcelona Citizen Science Office. Your microphone is muted.
Yep, I'm trying to manage. I was not so prepared. Hello, everybody. It's like share screen and it's all, no? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can't see it just yet.
Okay, fine. So I will try to share in so briefly space of time what we are doing in the Barcelona Citizen Science Office. Let me first explain who we are. We are a platform fostered from the Institute of Culture of the Barcelona City Council since 2012 in order to promote citizen science in the city and the metropolitan area. In terms of action, that means that we support, achieve, and advise and try to contribute to the development of project pilots. We also try to connect the projects, the research projects, with new audiences and in order to help them with the dissemination, because we have a lot of participation in major city events. That is a good way to reach this. And also we try to search alliances with other agents, also local, cultural, and education. This last point is very, very key for us, and we achieve it by a regular basis of networking between civil and cultural agents like the civic and cultural network, the public libraries, but also some departments in the municipality. That means, for example, the Open Data, Barcelona Open Data Office, and also some areas as environment management, and also the Barcelona Public Health Agency. We also try to carry on three main programs. One is the citizen science at schools in collaboration with the local education authority. This year, we are involving 9 different research projects, and they will work. Let's see the COVID, how does it performs, with 18 different school groups from different ages. We also try to foster with citizen science in at the neighborhoods. That means we are working with civic centers, cultural centers, if you want, and public libraries in order to settle and develop some more or less 10 projects at the moment, in more or less 12 different areas in the city. And of course, the Citizen Science Day is for us, that is addressed to any participant or citizen interested in citizen science in order to share best practices or meet other professionals and promote open and participatory research. That supports the community that is at the moment with around 20 different research projects that along these 7 years, or almost 8 years, have brought citizen science to a large part of the districts of the city, involving more than 13,000 of residents and school children, and having gathered more than 10,000 valuable data for research. Supporting a community, of course, implies promoting a space for mutual learning and fostering improvement and best practices and sharing methodologies. We have achieved through all these programs, through all these lines we go, we have developed some common methodologies and also standardization of the evaluation of the programs. And for us, it's very important to have a better approach to citizens' concerns and demands. We are a municipality of Barcelona, so for us it's very important. So the power of the community resides in the common knowledge, collective knowledge, and joining so different agents and practitioners. In our case, that is sometimes not so easy because we have some projects that are long-lasting. Some of them are still are the core of the projects that started in 2012, the motor, the engine, but some of other are European funded, and when funding period is over, projects should be over. So it is not so easy to maintain the continuity. Of course, we have some strong but also some weak points that I want to share with you. And if you have suggestions, they will be really welcome. The strengths first. The Barcelona City Office, Barcelona Citizen Science Office, is part of a bigger and broader program devoted to science for and with society. That is Barcelona Ciencia, Barcelona Science is called, that facilitates different connections with different stakeholders. That means not only research and innovation system, but policymakers and cultural and education agents, and particularly with citizens through all these major events and activities and programs that the Barcelona Ciencia develops, like science festivals, a biennial, some programs with schools.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we are now at that 7-minute mark, and I need to bring back Dr. Bruno Gumiro. So I apologize for cutting you off, and we'll continue this in the Zoom chat.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I already share my screen, so you should have already my poster. You put the before.
Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing it yet.
You mix it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes,
Excellent.
that is.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. So hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I go straight to my poster. I'm Bruna Gumiero. So today I would like to talk about the extraordinary opportunity that citizen science can give us, and how for example, it can help solve problems for local authority or environmental agency. My story talks mainly about Escherichia coli, that is a bacteriological parameter useful for identifying a source of organic pollution and recreational bathing threshold. Anyway, before I have to make a small preamble. In Italy, since 2006, not being mandatory parameters of the Water Framework Directive, it has decided not to measure anymore routinely Escherichia coli and other organic pollution indicator like BOD on COD, as we have done in the past. Why? Because the environmental agency has had too many tasks, such as monitoring the recreational bathing along the coasts, which is economically definitely more important than fresh water. And they have also a very huge freshwater network to take care of everything. So, moreover, the regional authority considered that it's not a big loss of information, because the parameters that they are still measure, how the nitrate and phosphate, for example, they are well correlated with the bacteriological ones. As a consequence, suitable to assess the quality of the water. In summary, it's not worth it. Well, go back to my story. Local authority of San Lazzaro municipality, that is a town bordering the well-known city of Bologna, was concerned about the impact of the numerous spillways along the water network could have on the quality of their rivers. All over the world, a large number of spillways are made to avoid breakage and spills on the entire sewer system during high rainfall mainly. For this reason, sewer spillways are one of the very common problems affecting freshwater all over the world, which the goal to assess their impact on the local freshwater network. As a student of mine, and thanks to the citizens' help mainly, we monitored the E. coli and the nitrate and phosphate in many sites within San Lazzaro municipality for about a year. Furthermore, since the method for measuring E. coli in citizen science activities has not yet been well tested, so we also use a solid laboratory method in parallel to evaluate its reliability. So go to the result. The bacteriological kits have been found to be reliable for Escherichia coli, although its correct use presents some difficulties for example, incubation or disposal, and when necessary for dilution as well. So we are looking to solve this problem. The study also highlights the negative impact of the spillways drain on the receptor water bodies, which increase the concentration of E. coli in the whole monitored area. The greatest concentration values were detected at the peaks of the rain in autumn. At the same time, the measured nutrient values were often low. It follows that the parameters currently used are not reliable for measuring organic pollution, and that the impact of spillways is very consistent. So environmental agency cannot keep a huge and complex territory under 100% control. And we have shown that the citizen monitoring can be extremely useful in identifying critical conditions. The project has given rise to a virtuous collaboration thanks to the University of Bologna and between local municipality and citizens for more suitable management of the territory. That I think is extremely important. So this autumn, we will do further monitoring, and then we will evaluate the mitigation measure all together in participatory process. So that's it. I finished.
Thank you very much for your participation. I apologize again to all the presenters who I had to cut off due to time constraints. I would hope that that people would continue these discussions in the Zoom chat and carry on after these policy sessions. Thank you very much. Moving right along, then we'll begin our next session, which is 23, Education in Citizen Science. We'll start by presenting Yael Kali from the University of Haifa, Israel. Yael, go on.
Hey, how are you? So I have just 5 minutes I'm going to run. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Let's see. Okay. So my name is Yael Kali, and I represent an Israeli center of research called Taking Citizen Science to School. The leadership of the project is a team of 6 learning scientists from the University of Haifa and the Technion in Israel. When we launched our center 3 years ago, we invited scientists and school practitioners to join forces in co-designing, implementing, and studying the notion of school participation in citizen science. And this led to the formation of the Taking Citizen Science network, which currently accommodates about a dozen multi-expertise research practice partnerships around various projects such as youth sleeping patterns, radon emission in homes, and jellyfish swarms in the Mediterranean Sea. So each circle that you see here represents one research practice partnership between a school, a team of scientists, and a team of educational researchers. And in the few minutes that I have until I'm done, I'd like to convince you that this network operates as a mutualistic learning ecology where various stakeholders, the school practitioners and the teachers and the principals and so on, the scientists, the educational researchers benefit from active engagement and participation of schools within citizen science projects. And this is despite this is despite many difficulties because it's not that easy for the schools, the teachers in the schools. They need to make very big pedagogical as well as organizational adjustments to incorporate citizen science within their teaching. And the scientists also, they need to engage in activities such as co-designing curriculum materials, which is not exactly their cup of tea. And also, there is a lot of boundary crossing, social boundary crossing that needs to happen, which is not that easy to do. But the initial findings are actually the proof is in the pudding. We have about 600, our network includes today about 600 volunteers. When we wrote this paper, we had 300, but actually the coronavirus really extended the participation in our network. And despite the fact that this is a totally voluntary endeavor, we have, you can see the pie chart here, we have 38% of education practitioners. These are the school practitioners. We have 15% of scientists and ecologies, which we're very encouraged about. They don't need to come, but they decided that they want to join us. We have some educational policymakers, educational researchers, and some volunteer and some other bodies of non-formal education, usually ecology and nature preservation bodies. And so people come because they feel that they have something to benefit from. And I think that by now I have to stop. So if you want to know more, you're most welcome to go to our website and check out more. Thank you very much.
Actually, if you would prefer to continue the discussion just a little bit longer, we have one presenter remaining for the sessions, and we have until 7:15. If you prefer, if not, then we can move on.
I would actually be happy if there are any questions. I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions in the? No questions in the chat at the moment. I think everybody's kind of shook from these lightning rounds. So
it's very, very intensive. So why don't we continue? And if there are, afterwards we can have a conversation and discuss more about it.
Okay, that sounds also great. Luciano, are you here? Actually, Heidi Ballard would love to hear more from you, ma'am.
I cannot see you, but I am waiting.
All right.
I actually don't even know how many people are out there, so maybe I'm glad to see you, Heidi. Yes, what can I tell you? There are so many things to talk about. Maybe the 26 viewers, yay!
Yeah, right. And apparently Luciano has left the room.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I'd like to say here that one of the challenges that we are finding is that within such a network of I'll share my screen again. Share screen. So within a network of research practice partnerships, and this is something that Heidi and I discussed a little bit over mail, one of the challenges is, how do you, there's lots of knowledge that is being developed in each of these sites. So we can have like one school that studies jellyfish swarms in 8th grade with a group of scientists and educational researchers. And then another group, which is still in that same network, that studies little mammal footprints in 5th grade with another scientist. And there is a lot of, we feel that a lot of tacit knowledge as well as knowledge about, how do you go about to make the changes in the school so that this can really happen? It's distributed. And how do you make that knowledge, how do we share this knowledge? How do we learn from each other? And this is something that we've been grappling with in the past. We didn't write this in our poster, but we're now developing a platform, a digital platform, where we will have the different partnerships tell stories about what they are doing. And these stories will be told from the multiple perspectives of the people who are in these partnerships. So we can have teachers and students talk about how they experience the citizen science in their school. But we can also have the scientist saying, this was helpful to me in these ways or in other ways, or maybe some challenges that need to be fixed for other times. And what we'd like to do is to see how these stories connect to each other with what we call pedagogical design principles. And these pedagogical design principles connect what we know in the learning sciences to what we are finding out in practice.
Actually, I would like to pose another question again from Heidi. She was asking, what big lessons do you have for future research on children doing citizen science in schools?
This
big
is
question.
A big question. What is I think one of the things that we need to be really cautious about is what we call schoolifying, not to schoolify the spirit, the volunteering spirit of citizen science when you bring it into schools, because the teachers here are volunteers, and they volunteer to be in this program, and the scientists volunteer to this program, but the school students, they need to go to school. So how do we keep that spirit of volunteerism? I think is one of the things that we need to make sure that we maintain. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for answering that question. Actually, Luciano Massetti, a researcher of the Italian National Research Institute, had a little technical difficulty there for a moment, but he's back and ready to present. How are you doing, Luciano?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Can you see the screen or?
Yes. Yes, we can see it. Oh, well, good to see it.
Okay. My name is, yes, is in?
Excellent.
Okay. My name is Luciano Massetti. I'm going to present the Bioprofile project that is funded by the Erasmus Plus program. And we are 4 participating countries from Slovakia, that is the leader country, Italy, Spain, and UK. You can find, I started with the material, you can find all the material, not now, but in the next month, because we have postponed the activity for 4 months. So by the end of the year, we can find all the material in teachinggreen.eu, that is the platform where we provide all the. The aim of this project is integrating environmental education at school, following an simplified inquiry-based approach. So the target of this project were the teachers that were trained, that were provided with teaching materials that basically let's say study the environmental topics. We identified seven categories of environmental issues, integrating the use of technology, outdoor activity, so collecting data in the environment, and practical activity. And all these are meant to study a local issue. And another common point is that all these activity should be low-cost activities and easy to implement at school. So what we did actually is providing the following the project provide the following outcomes to the teachers that are a training course, didactic materials, and what we called bioprofiles, so indicators of environmental quality or environmental issues divided in 7 categories. We provided 2 environmental indicators for each category. And for each indicator that is let's say a general problem, so it's a very common problem, so we can link at the same time a local issue and a general issue that is so teachers can also link their activity in their lessons not only with the local issue but also with general issue like the Sustainable Development Goals. And what we did is 2 international training courses to more than 40 teachers from the 4 countries. So they work interactively together in English and tested all the lessons in person. So they tested the material and give feedback about their applicability in the school context. And in the end, they get these materials and choose 2 of these indicators that applied to their that represent the issue for their local, the community they come from. And so they applied this in school last year, at the end of the last year. So they were able to finish the activities before the starting of the COVID crisis. Then everything stopped. In Italy, in particular, they tested, at the end of the activity, they collected all the material and they made a report in the form of a PowerPoint that is also let's say a product of the project, an outcome that is available, where they describe the activity, the results they got, they share their feelings, both teachers and students, their impression, what work and what not work. They are also stimulated to, after the end, use the results of the activity to let's say, to share the result with their community, so parents, but also public administrator, in order to, let's say, stimulate, raise the issue and try to, public administrators to find a solution to it. Unfortunately, at least in Italy, a public administrator promised to come to schools, but in the end they didn't come. Probably at the end, maybe at the end of the year they would, but there was not enough time. So in Italy, teachers decided to do between the activity, they choose the same activity, choose more than one activity. At the end, they choose every of them, choose acidity of rain in order to compare the results. And so to find a different level of acidity of rain, but also different experience in different coasts, because from the city of Florence, very urbanized, to country schools in countryside. And there was also we tried also to test the results in terms of let's say increase of knowledge of about the issue, and also interest in environmental issues. So yes,
Luciano, I know we had some issues with the technical difficulties, but it's that time. I hate to cut you off. I really hope you'll join in the Zoom chat, because everything you've been presenting up to this point is, I believe it deserves to continue being discussed. So please join in the Zoom social chat that breaks out so you can continue discussing with the audience.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And apologize to everyone for the technical difficulties you've had. Thank you for being a great audience.